Welcome to the Life of Being podcast, where we talk about all things life from a healthcare perspective all around the world. I'm your host, Kelly Tan, and in each episode, we'll dive into stories, science, and wisdom to help you live well, think deeper, and express life fully. Let's begin. Today we're excited to have Morgan Hayward joining us from England. Morgan is a chiropractor based in Sussex, England, where he has been practicing since he graduated from the AECC in 2023. He began practicing at Spinal Health Clinics in Crawley before opening his own practice, Roots Chiropractic, 9 months ago, which was recently recognized with a new Business of the Year award for 2026. Woo! Above all, Morgan places the greatest value on the relationships that shape his life. He is a devoted son, brother, friend, and a partner to his better half. Morgan, welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Shall I start by you sharing your story in terms of how you got into chiropractic and also your journey to becoming an associate and then ultimately opening your own place now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I initially decided to pursue chiropractic when I was 17. So I remember initially I was looking at doing something just in helping people. I loved healthcare. I loved sport. Then I was going to do physiotherapy. I did an observation at a hospital and didn't quite fit what I was looking for. So then I felt like I was back at square one and I was doing some research and I was really interested when I was studying in the nervous system. So then when chiropractic came along, it was a bit of a no-brainer for me. And interestingly enough, when I was there looking more into chiropractic, I found conflicting views upon how people view the profession. So certain areas of the public were like, oh, chiropractic claims to do X, Y, Z. Other people would obviously praise chiropractic highly. So when I first got into the profession, I didn't have a quote unquote story transformation in my life after being adjusted and came in completely on fire about chiropractic. But then it was gradually as I went through university, by coincidence, I managed to come across 3 friends who I ended up living with. So Max Bento, Callum Larkham and Wes Santusa, who used to speak about chiropractic having a philosophy. And I had firstly very little idea that there was so much philosophy behind chiropractic. I was very aware of the views chiropractors had within the field because I observed chiropractors prior to coming into uni, but I wasn't aware of how much philosophical writings were in chiropractic prior to coming in. So I tried to read, I think the first book was Sinner, and then volume 1, which was way too much to start with for me at that period of time. So when I initially started trying to read, when the boys encouraged me to do so, I couldn't. I was like, nah, I'm not even understanding the lexicon. But then a friend, he advocated me to read Strunk. I think it was Chiropractic Philosophy by Virgil Strunk. And it just made it so simple. The simplicity about it was what attracted me to it. Then I read Strauss. Then I went into some of the Green books. And then from that point, it just made so much sense. I loved how it was a first principles approach to healthcare or just to life in general. So then as I went through uni, I started studying loads of techniques in my final year, ended up becoming an associate at, so Danny Scarhill, I think he recently had him on the podcast. He moved up north where he sold the practice. So I'm now working at Spinal Clinic for Phil Mitchell. And then about 12 months ago, I started thinking that I wanted to open my own practice. And then for 3 months, I was going through, where am I going to open it? Yeah, pretty much where I'm going to open it, all of the stuff behind it. And then afterwards, I just went, if you just pick a venue, put money down and deposit on the venue, you have no choice but to start. So then here we are now, long story short.
Wow. With your perspective, what was the differences that you've seen or felt before? Like when you're shadowing, it's okay, this is what you think it is. But when you're studying, it's so much different that you need to kind of study your own in terms of the text and the books of chiropractic.
Yeah, so naturally, we know how education is at university at the moment. It may not be completely congruent with chiropractic, but they're in the position they're in to make sure they can meet regulatory boards, etc. So yes, it was different, but the ACC, at least when we were there, had fantastic resources, opportunities, and students, at least that I was exposed to, that helped me go on the journey of understanding, studying chiropractic alongside the education that we got.
With you finally deciding picking a place and then you're going to make things happen, with what you know now, what would you do things differently if there's anything?
Yeah, it's a good question. Well, I remember when I first started, the first 2 months, obviously it was really quiet. And I remember just because I was already still working in Crawley, but still at. I just remember being sat down about a month in, and obviously it was very, very steady. I did not set up the first day. You know how people say, I walked into like 70 new clients in the first like 2 weeks. It was not like that. So in hindsight, I would have done far, far more prep in the community prior to opening up, because I opened up doors and diary was dead. We had a couple walk-ins from the local people neighbouring in the city business centre that we're in, but I would have done far more prep just to get the ball rolling. And then, I mean, naturally, you just learn how to run a practice as you do it. But I would have had a few more systems in place so that when interest, because when people were seeing awesome results and they were like, oh, I want to get my family, friends, and we weren't capitalizing on all the opportunities to help people's families and friends that they were wanting to refer to us, but we weren't given any way to do so per se, other than, yeah, they contact us, etc. So I had just having systems in place to make sure when there's interest, people have the opportunity to come get assessed would be probably the biggest thing. But making sure pre-setup, pre-first day, you've done some community outreach, I think would have helped us significantly more.
And are you usually looking at more so like spinal screening or like more on advertisement? Which one do you think that it works most with your community?
So for our community, in-person talks work really well. We're in quite a small, relatively small town. So there's two really well-established practices in the area. So when you're new, doing stuff on social media is obviously good, just putting information out, etc. But the best way we found is being in community. Spinal screenings are good just for exposure, having talks in certain places. I do BNI, so networking groups. I would have done that sooner because it's good access into key areas of the community, especially if it's a small town like I'm in. Like everyone knows everyone. So as long as they see value in chiropractic, they're going to want the information to be shared. So I would have done that earlier. Like information spreads really well when it's good information and good value. So it's just about making sure you got those opportunities before you go in and start.
And when you talk about system in place, what sort of system do you think that is the key between a good practice and the one that does really, really well?
I think the best system, obviously I'm very early on in practice, so any docs watching this, feel free to reach out, give me a hand. But the best system's the one that makes it as efficient as possible and get the result that you want. So if you need or would like more new clients or internal referrals booked in, having a system in place that makes that seamless for them, seamless for you, and for the person on the other end using the system. It's just about making things as efficient as possible to take the load off you so you can just focus on checking, adjusting.
So if someone comes in and saying like, no, I'm feeling so much better, I'd like to refer one of my friends who's having similar issue, what's the procedure like to make sure that they take the initiative?
Yeah, it's really, really easy. We typically we use Zoni, so they have booking links, and with the booking link, we can either be like, okay, that's great. We usually take some details from the person first, just so we know what to expect or who to expect calling. But we just either send them a link to be like, send this to them, so then they can book in themselves. We prefer to give like a card with a written name from us, be like, you've been referred by X person for a consultation. Usually if they're family, friends, we offer a slight reduced fee for that. So there's obviously incentive for them, but so we can help them out and help the person helping the other person out. But giving something handheld is really, really useful. We do those type of things a lot, handwritten cards. We usually send videos to clients to check in, etc. like that. So yeah, but to answer your question, either booking link, we either get a number off the person. Some people prefer gift cards, other people prefer vouchers. So either or. It's really simple stuff. It's just stuff we weren't doing before, at all. So it's just making it reflexive.
If we look back then, when or why did you felt like you were ready to open up your own practice? Or was it something that you've already thought of before you even started school?
It's a good question. It was something I thought about even before I went to university. Then when I first came out of school, I wasn't too keen on it, funnily enough. I think it was just pure scarcity about having to do all the work yourself. Is it really going to work? Am I ready for that? And the decision came because I was working 2.5 days. So I was doing about 26 hours at Crawley, and on my other days I was reading, studying so much, and after a point I just went, I'm doing all this studying to do what? It's time to help people. So I just went, oh well, I'm bored now, time to do a bit more. So it was more from the inertia of just like, I need to do something right now, I'm sat down, need to do more. So it came from that. And I think opening your practice is very rewarding. You learn a lot about yourself. You can help people in image for them. So
It sounds like you're seeking to grow more, and that's why you feel like jumping out of this comfort zone. And then from there, you've learned so much of yourself. Is that the case for you a year ago?
absolutely, yeah. I think we should always be. I think chiropractors are amazing for this. We're always looking for growth, like always trying to grow in some way. And I think whether you don't have to open a practice. I think there's an idea where people feel like they need to open a practice sometimes. Like it doesn't need to be the case, but continually growing and expanding you as a person's only going to benefit you and then the people that you're helping, and just improve your life in general. I think business or being in practice is a great way to do that, because there's many different arcs of things you're needing to work on. So yeah, definitely. Like looking back, very, very different to where I was and how I was a year ago.
What is it that you're learning now then, Morgan?
I'm learning to trust the process a bit better.
Oh, okay.
So in May we had people the results, obviously chiropractic, like people were happy, which is great. Result in chiropractic, it depends what you mean by results, but we were doing our job well. People were happy that we were doing our job well. Naturally, people typically feel better with chiropractic. I'm not to say that's the objective of chiropractic, but we were doing our job really well. But because we weren't capitalizing on, business coming in and seeing more people, there was naturally a dip in how many people we were able to help. And then when you see that, it's really easy to get super scarce and be like, oh no, it's going down. How are we going to keep things going? And that was one of the biggest learnings, at least recently, in that if you have the correct mindset, don't drop off the ball, you keep growing, you keep proactive, you will keep growing. And I just realized that I dropped off the ball a bit. We were doing really well. We got to a really good place after about 6-7 months. And then I got comfortable. And that's not to say you shouldn't be able to relax, you should. But I stopped pursuing growth and more. And that's when things started to not look as good as I would have liked it to do so. So it taught me a lesson to stay proactive. And then once you do so, because when I was back on it, I started being like, oh, now I'm on it. Now I'm not seeing more people. Just getting scarce, focusing on seeing more rather than just helping the people that are there, and they'll help you. If you help the people, I've got Jimmy at Top Chiro. We meet every 2 weeks to have a conversation. Yeah. And he just reminded me, if you trust and help people, they'll help you. So don't worry about too much, because worry is only going to cause more problems for you anyway. If you can help the people, they'll help you. Yeah. There's no point getting stressed.
That's a really good one. That's a really good one. Other than speaking with Jimmy bi-weekly, is there any person that keeps you accountable also in the career per se?
Yeah, my partner probably keeps me accountable the most. I think when you have a good partner and they see you slacking off, they definitely don't let you. And she was one of the people that when I was in that period to starting or wanting to start a practice, she literally went to me, "You've been talking about this for 3 months. When are you going to do it?" And I was like, fair enough. I think your family, your circle of friends, having chiropractors that you respect around you all make a big difference. My partner holds me the most accountable. My goodness, she keeps me on my toes big time, which is good. I absolutely love her for it.
Is she also in the profession, or she does something?
No, I met her before I went to uni, so we've just had our 7 years.
What would you say is the key to balancing work and life and making sure you're making time for the people that you love?
At this moment in time, I'm probably not the best person to answer that question. But to at least ask somewhat, just make sure that when you're not in practice, don't be in practice. But I don't follow my own advice in that regard. I'm pretty I love chiropractic, so if I'm not in practice, I'm usually studying, reading some personal development stuff. But definitely making sure that at least in the future, this is how I think it will look like. Don't kill yourself working huge amount of hours. Make sure when you're not in practice, you're present with your family. If you're present with your family, make sure you get things done when you're in practice. Answer emails, phone calls, all of that straight away. Don't procrastinate on it. I used to do that a lot. Just if something could be done quickly, do it quickly, and then it's all off your plate. Then you could, when you're home, you can relax, be with your family. But ask any of my family, they know I haven't got that balance just right yet.
At least you got that idea though, so you're on the way.
Absolutely. I'm better than what I used to be before. It was crazy. I was full on practice. Which isn't a bad thing, but you do need balance.
What would you say is the difference with you being a practice owner and with you being an associate associate or even a student? Obviously, you're forever a student, but like, what's the different in terms of the mindset and attitude you have that you think that's the difference between the both?
I think as a practice owner, I'm having more fun.
Okay.
I think when you're a practice owner, you've got to go get it. Like if you want to make a change, you make a change straight away. If you want to change something in the practice to help people in a certain way that you think is going to be better or more efficient or more enjoyable experience for them, you can do that pretty much immediately. As an associate, when I was working with Danny and others, I would feel like they very much encourage you to go out, and I think associates should be expected to. You can't just sit there and expect everything to be done for you. So I'm sure most practices, they encourage you to go into the community, do the talks, screenings, make sure you're communicating well, make sure obviously you're delivering chiropractic. But I think as a practice owner, one, obviously you've got to be more mindful of the other things around, like making sure that you've got stuff in the diary where you're in the community, sharing information, making sure that the people working with you know what they're doing clearly and you can lead them in the vision that you want for the practice. They're probably little things that I maybe took for granted that were already there, like having that vision in place, making sure everyone's on the same page or understand what the objective of the practice is and how to make that as smooth as possible. That's probably one of the things that, I mean, I know I can continue to work on now, but one of the biggest differences as an associate, you just focus purely on turning up chiropractic. But as with practice, there's the little things around managing these systems in the business and team members. When you have team members, make sure that they're comfortable, they're happy, they know what's going on, which is probably the biggest separation, but I find it much more enjoyable being a practice owner.
That's great. Now, with Roots Chiropractic, you guys have been recently awarded the New Business of the Year 2026. What do you think contributes to this success?
They said it was our quality of care, and they said our communication and willingness to be in the community and help people. So I guess that's what did it.
Okay. Didn't know you already had an answer.
Yeah, they that's what they said. So I guess that's what did it.
How do you keep yourself connected to the community then?
Through our practice members. Yeah,
Okay.
through our practice members. I think again, like we said, like if you help people, they'll help you. And chiropractic is a fantastic profession, and it's a service and a message that people want to hear and are ready to hear and ready to share if you give them the message in a way that's simple, typically congruent with their life, in a way that then they can relay the information. Like something I still do but used to do more is make it so complicated. Like you don't have to make it that hard. Like people don't need to know the minutiae. Just be simple, be clear in how you communicate, and then they will share that message. And then for when you have talks, etc., in the community, you want them to share with their family, just ask them to do it. I used to be so scared, and I'm sure I'm not alone in this. Sometimes you just need to ask. Like I remember literally not too long ago, 3 months ago, a practice member whose family come to see me. He has a cadets club. I didn't realize he had it, but when I spoke to him, I was like, I share this information in community groups. If you know anywhere, please let me know. I'd love to help. The week after, he asked me, would you love to come to our group? We've got young lads there. I think we'd love to hear your message. All I did was ask. He'd been with me for months before then, but never had the impetus, because all it took was just to ask the question. So I think a really good way is just use the people in your practice. They're there because they enjoy and want chiropractic care. So they're going to want to share that with other people. I don't know where the saying comes from, but if you go to a restaurant, if you enjoy a restaurant, you want to share the food from a restaurant with other people. You don't just like gatekeep it. You want to share that experience. People want to share chiropractic, so just help them along and ask them.
Yeah, and then they said if you enjoy the experience, you don't have to ask them to leave a 5-star review. They'll just do it. They'll tell the whole village they have. So it's just providing the service and the best that you can do for them. And that's, I think, where it's the same story that you heard also, or is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, if you do chiropractic, people enjoy it, they'll want to share. So sometimes people don't know what you do to help people with that, because people refer people to you. But if you want to be more in the community, sometimes they don't realize what you do, because I guess it's not a common thing in the healthcare sphere as much, to my knowledge anyway. And then the other way would be I really like BNI, so networking group in the morning. We have a really, really good group, and again, it's really easy because every week I just choose a story from one of our practice members, be like, this is what's happening. And if you do, again, especially especially if you're in a smaller community, that works really well because those people are in positions where they're communicating with a lot of people, like they're business owners in a small community, which means that you've got a lot of people going to these few little places. So it's really easy to stay connected in a community if you're talking with people who are also in those positions where they're seeing a lot of people engaging in the community in those type of ways.
How did you know about BNI and what inspired you to join that?
Danny made me do it.
Ah, okay. Make you
Right,
do
my food.
it.
Yeah, where like it was in the contract when we first. I had no idea what BNI was.
Oh,
That when we join, we do BNI in the morning.
right.
So went across the group, and
That-
that's how it started. I took a year or so off when I didn't have roots, but I thought I joined it back because again, I know the group's really really good because I know some groups are a bit different with BNI, but yeah, join the group. They're really great people. It's just about sharing. It's the easiest way to share chiropractic, at least in that setting, I think.
When you talk about communicating as simple as you can for people to understand, what do you think is the number one mistake that students or graduate usually does? And what do you think is a better way to do it?
Good question. So I'll speak from my experience. When I first graduated, I wanted people to know the detail, wanted to know like the detail. This is what's going on in the body, this. And then I didn't quite realize, one, how people don't care anyway. Like when my car combust a year ago. It was a year ago. I did a long journey and the wheel bearing like completely went out. So it was making the craziest noise. I remember going to the mechanic and he told me what was going on and then tried to explain it to me. And I just remember in my head going, with so much love, I don't want to know. Can you fix it? Brilliant. How much it's going to cost? Brilliant. Fix the car. And in that moment, I literally went, to him, it was so, I don't know cars at all, like at all. So to him, it was so simple. He's like, yeah, this is what's going on. This is what's going on. To me, I'm looking at thinking, what are you on about? Like, I have no idea. Just, can you fix it and make it simple? Just, if you're going to talk to me about it, like, just tell me in a way, like I'm stupid. And from that moment, I remember going, if that's him explaining that, I can't even imagine what my practice members are thinking when I'll try to over-explain detail to them. So to answer your question, I think at least what I was like, we come out of practice with all of this information, but inevitably the client, you want to explain a concept in a way that is relevant to their life, in an analogy that they can understand. I think analogies can't be used enough. Like the more analogies you use, the better, that are simple and that are relevant to them, or they can at least understand. If you can do that regularly, then people will take that concept and then they can relay it onto other people. They can understand it, because there's a difference between like hearing something and being like, oh yeah, that was interesting, and someone being like, I understand and feel what you're saying here. There's like a difference between cognifying something and actually feeling something. So if you can help someone feel what you're trying to convey to them in the context of chiropractic, that's the best way to do it. I think analogies can't be used enough. Like pick a core number. If you're a student or a new grad, like pick a core number of concepts, the principles of chiropractic, having a couple, like one or two analogies for it, and then rinse and repeat.
What would be your favorite analogy or the one that you find most useful with your practice members so far?
Which one do I use the most? The one that I use the most is like telephone line. So really early on, it's like see the nervous system, our brain and nervous system always try and take on information from the world and then send those messages back through your body. So you've got that communication system. Imagine it like a phone line. I'm speaking to you over the phone. You're trying to talk back to me. If the communication line's super clear, we hear the conversation. Great. You tell me what to do. I can do it. I tell you what to do and I can do it. However, if you've ever had a conversation where the phone line's a bit grainy, you can't really hear as well. All of a sudden, if I try to talk to you, you can't hear that message as well. So then what happens? Well, things aren't going to be as good. And I think it's important that when you say, have you ever had a conversation on the phone? Because then they're now thinking, oh, yes, I have. If you go straight and it's like, if that phone line is blurry, you've then told them. If you ask them, then they're in the conversation. You need to invite people in with questions rather than talking at them. And I used to do that a lot. Like I used to just be like, okay, have I given the information? Brilliant. That means you must have understood it. Like there's a difference between, again, telling someone and someone understanding and someone listening. So that was really simple because people understand it. They get the nervous system communication system and it helps her control coordination of the body. Like it's a good segue, that one. That's probably the first one I use with people.
I think that's really good though, because people tend to say that, no, I've said this already, but they don't understand. But it's not what's being said, but what's being heard, isn't it? So interesting analogy, and it's really simple to get. Do you remember how you got your first ever client in Roots Chiropractic?
Yes, I do. It was literally on the first day. One of the guys who works in insurance, because we're in like it's a city business center, so it's a nice office block. But I had a banner up that I was literally just putting down actually from the practice because I was like, oh, this doesn't really look right. And he saw a hip pain or something on the banner and literally just walked in from there. There's a guy in insurance. He was super just like, just get me good, get me good. He had a boxing match coming up. So it was literally just from walking, then another walking later on. Then we had to do a bit of meta advertising. That's when things snowballed. But yeah, the first one was a walk-in just from a neighboring business.
I mean, that's cool because once you put yourself out there, then people just come, people want your service. So that's good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The biggest change was when my mindset shifted in terms of from being super passive, like, oh, when are people going to come, to like, no, I'm ready to see people now, then everything changed.
Wow.
Like, I was sat, like I was saying earlier, I was sat down in the practice like a month or two in, like, dude, I've got to start seeing people, man. That's why I opened this. And I'm like, no, I'm ready. I want to. I'm happy to do so. Then, yeah, things changed.
Click in, yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, if there's a student or a fresh grad that's listening to this, what sort of resources or books that you'd recommend to them?
There's a lot of chiropractic podcasts out there. I can send you a few to put in the description that are good. Like, listen to docs that are in practice and that have done well and in the way that you want to practice. Could be really, really good. I think reading chiropractic philosophy is the best way because that is the profession. Like, that's the basis of what the expression of the profession is based off of first principles thinking. So, I mean, I started reading Strong, chiropractic philosophy, because I thought it was really simple and it made a really good distinction between the chiropractic paradigm and approach to health or life compared to a more allopathic or medical one. And not to say what I really liked was that they weren't saying the medical paradigm was bad, it's just different. And I liked that at first. And then I really enjoyed Strauss. Like, I read Strauss, for me, again, made good distinctions between chiropractic is this. You can do other stuff in terms of like there's medical paradigms, etc. out there, but chiropractic is this. And having that, to me, just like, I don't understand why people have a problem with this because it's different. And then when you understand the difference, then it's quite easy to, as a student for me, because there can be a lot of like, people put a lot of emotion around like philosophy and stuff like that. Like, at least from my experience, I shouldn't read that, it's bad, etc. It's outdated, but I don't understand how philosophy can be outdated. It's philosophy. Like, first principles are first principles. You can't change truth. Like, it's a first principle. So I think first principle, I think this is for anything in life, but first principles thinking is super important. So understanding the first principles that chiropractic are founded upon, I think will yield a very, very rewarding career service.
That's really good. We're coming towards the end of the conversation. I really want to thank you for sharing your story, your journey, and your success that you had starting out less than a year, and you've been growing so much already. So it's really, really good to see there's a good principal chiropractor that is serving the community. Where would be the best place to find you then, Morgan?
My number is 07894 452 722. Just WhatsApp me.
Great. So if there's anyone that's listening to this episode, they want to speak more, bring this conversation further, they can just message you, WhatsApp you with the number. And also I'll put the links to your website, Roots Chiropractic, your Instagram. And also once you send me over the resources that you like to recommend students, I'll just put it into the description below so that they can check that out.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Before we wrap things up, what would be one sentence, one quote that you'd like to lift the listeners to?
One I really loved at uni was nature needs no help, just no interference.
That's a really great way to wrap up the episode. Thank you so much again, Morgan, for your time. And we look forward to speaking with you again in the future.
Thank you, Kelly. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Life of Being podcast. Let us know what is your one key takeaway from this episode. And if this conversation inspired you, share it with a friend who might find it helpful today. Until next time, take care of your health and take care of your being.